you guys, Melissa Sorrentino here. Want to check in with you with a little bit of info about improv. This is something that I came across very recently, and it's kind of a recurring theme that I am noticing as improv is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more people are getting involved in it. We have got some people who are starting to really dig their heels in to whatever camp they're in. And I am finding this to be something that in a way is interesting because it's bringing out a lot of different styles, but in a way it's very limiting for you as an individual. If you choose to just put your flag in this camp and not want to go over to that camp, you're going to be missing out. And that's because there are wonderful things about different this versus that, this versus that, this versus that. And I know that a lot of people are looking for answers. Which side should I be on? And the answer that I want to chime in and say in my glorious maturity is that the best one to pick is to just be reticent in your refusal to pick one. Pick what the moment wants. Pick what the moment wants. Pick what the moment wants, what the character wants, what the environment wants. What's the flow of the scene? Example, I'm in a scene where there's two people. It's already been set up. Actually, it was actually given prior. It was I don't know if I really call it improv, but somebody wanted to have three pieces of a setup, like a who, a what, and a when. They got all those as suggestions. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So, it was still totally spontaneous, but what we were already given from the audience was the who, the what, and the where. So the what was basically a game, though. Everybody else got a what, you're getting ready for a wedding, or, today's the day that you're getting fired from your job, or something like that. But mine was actually a what, it was like a motivation. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's really more of like a device for the scene work. So it was like, this character is motivated by this thing. So I was like, oh, okay. It sort of ended up unfolding where it's like, so now we got two people on stage, and one of the first things we need to, eye contact out or share out somehow is which one of us is the character with this, incentive. So I sort of set it up to sort of toss it to the other player, and he kind of spiked it back, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's me. So I dug in, and that was my thing, was that I had a want for the scene. Now, this is where I want to talk about the two diverging styles, okay? If we're going pure yes and, Second City, old school, yes and trumps all, then I'm just going to say yes to everything. Then even if I was pre-given that motivation, at some point, the other character is going to turn me, and I can have a revelation in that scene that I no longer want that motivation. In Second City style, that's perfectly okay. You can say yes to changing your mind, and then yes over this way, and then go that way, and then it's very free. It's very loosey goosey as far as plot goes, as far as game device goes. Now, this particular group is more the annoyance, Mick Napier style. So they're more okay, when you are given this motivation, stick to it, stick to it, stick to it. Now, for me, I think, and this is now, I'm just put those camps, chuck it aside. I have my own voice. I have my own thing that I have sort of evolved. And I'm not suggesting that you go to school, Melissa Sorrentino. But this is I do. I own my own fucking instrument, and I do what I want to do. I just do. I sort of just grabbed hold of that at a certain point in my life, and you know what? I'm happy, and ain't nobody complaining. So that's what I do. If I'm living by example of what I've seen other people do, then yes, I am. And if I'm setting an example for other people that see me and happen to like the way I play, awesome, steal it, I love it. So here's the thing. I like to dabble over into the yes and until we sort of forget what the game was, and then come back and nail it. And then, and if it's, in a perfect world, if we were going to, chart it out, it would be rule of threes and heighten and out. Especially in a long form, because that would communicate to the back line that the scene is, has reached its, max height or whatever. And it's fun. So that's what I would do. However, it depends sometimes on the circumstance, your mood, the texture of the overall piece. Maybe there have been 3 or 4 gimmicky, just joke, 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 height, 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 ABC, then I might just shift totally into the second city camp and actually play a scene and just yes and our way through some sort of like very deep exploration. Might not even be funny. And for those of us who have more of a penchant to want to kind of dabble in the drama or dabble more in the, whatever you want to call it, that is the opposite of jokey or, more just shallow. You want to get a little deeper. I believe that if you don't go into the, and IO is the same, with the yes and in many, many schools, but, just like the big 3 or whatever, or 5 or however many you think there are. If you only are going always back to that, like, well, I'm going to stick to what I showed up with. In my experience of just observing, they tend to be shallower, more jokey scenes that really, you could argue they go somewhere, but the redundancy of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 gets very old. It even gets old for a person watching their very first show, but after 2 hours of sets, it does get a little bit, I want to say boring, but honestly, it's just, you get hungry for something more human, for something more connecty. So if you love that, I suggest you pull away from that and really explore some depth of scene work and then come back and nail with the funny if you've got the rule of threes. And if you are playing a scene with someone else, like me, for example, if I steer a little bit off road and I get into the weeds of like life and its grit and its depth and its pains and maybe a little bit of darkness, I guess if you trust me or you trust your contemporary, they very likely may be ready to steer it back and get to that second beat of the funny motivation that was set up, and then the third, and heighten it. So if you are playing with someone else that's doing that, and you seem to take it upon yourself to like correct them and try to like, but we have to stick to what we did. I don't think that makes for very good improv, because you need to be malleable as scene partners. So if that's what you want to do as player 1 in a 2-person, 3-person, 4-person scene, awesome. Stick to your thing that you want to do. But the fun and the buoyancy of this whole art form is to let the other person do what they're doing and bounce your thing off them, and hopefully they're doing the same. So I think I'm going to continue to be a proponent of, like, rather than start putting improv in a box like everything else in the world, keep it open, keep it malleable, keep it stretchy, all right, that's all I have to say. Click your likes, subscribe if you like more of this kind of content, and if you want to join any sort of dialogue, feel free to use the comments below and we'll have a little chat. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.